Harjean.
Looks like I'm Mr. Fernandez, F-E-R-N, Ms. Fernandez, F-E-R-N-A-N-D-E-Z.
I'm the court.
I'm the witness.
I'm Mr. Kozlavka, C-A-S-L-A-V-K-A.
Okay, and we're starting on line 12 with the court.
This is the time and place set for preliminary hearing in the case of People of the State of California versus David Toren. Is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes.
The record may reflect that Mr. Toren is present with counsel. The district attorney's office is represented. Counsel, would you indicate to the court your prospective witness list in a fashion so the court can write it down?
Slowly, you mean?
Yes.
Carol Teresen, that's spelled T-O-E-R-R-I-E-S-S-E-N, I believe.
Okay.
Greg Albert Cusser, that's spelled K-U-S-S-E-R.
Thank you.
Al Lauer,
Thank you.
and Upland Police Officer Howard Harden.
Are there any motions by the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. May the witnesses be excluded?
Court will grant the motion to exclude witnesses during the course of the preliminary hearing. We will admonish witnesses present now. Counsel, to admonish witnesses not present, they are not to discuss their knowledge of the case with anyone during the course of the preliminary hearing. However, they may discuss with an attorney if they wish to. You wish to designate an investigating officer?
Yes, Officer Harden.
Officer Harden is designated investigating officer and is exempt from the admonishment just given. Counsel, you may call your first witness.
Carol Teresen.
Carol Teresen, please approach the witness stand to my left, right up here. Before you take the stand, raise your right hand and be sworn. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name to the court.
Carol Teresen.
Would you spell both your first name and your last name for us?
C-A-R-O-L-T-O-E-R-R-I-E-S-S-E-N.
Thank you. You may proceed, counsel.
On November 14, 1985, were you living at 1580 Bronco Court in the city of Upland?
Yes, it's really Bronco Way.
Okay, Bronco Way.
Uh-huh.
And who were you living with?
My son Gregory Cusser and my daughter Holly Cusser.
About what time did you leave your residence on that day?
6:45 in the morning.
And when you left your residence, was anybody still at home, any of your children?
Uh-huh. Bo, Holly, and Greg.
What time did you return to your home on that day?
Probably close to 5.
In the afternoon?
Uh-huh.
When you returned home, did you find anything missing?
My videotape player was missing.
Would you describe that, please?
It's a unit made by RCA. It's a large brown box with a black plastic top. It has a little remote control device attached to the side.
Was that taken also?
Uh-huh.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Do you know any model numbers or serial numbers on it?
No.
Do you have any documents with that information on it at home?
I have documents with the model number. It's possible the serial number, but I don't know for certain.
Was there any damage to the home?
No.
Thank you. Any evidence of forced entry anywhere?
No.
Did you later recover your video cassette recorder?
Yes.
About how many days later did you recover it?
A week and a half, maybe 8 or 10 days. My daughter picked it up from Upland Police.
Objection based on personal knowledge. Move to strike the response.
It may be stricken. The last sentence.
Did your daughter bring home the video cassette recorder
Yes.
that you saw?
Yes.
And you looked at it. Was it the same one that was taken?
Yes.
Was it in the same condition as when you had last seen it?
Yes.
The document that you have on this, about how long would it take you to go home and get them?
Oh,
I would object as irrelevant.
Overruled.
about a half an hour, 45 minutes maybe.
That long?
Well, to get there and back and find them.
Did you give anyone permission to take this video cassette recorder?
No.
I have no further questions.
Okay, you may cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Teresen, when was the last time you used the VCR prior to November 14th?
I probably couldn't give you an honest answer.
You didn't use it on the 14th, did you?
No.
And you didn't, to the best of your recollection. Did you use it the day before at any time?
It probably was used because we had a rented tape laying around the house that day that I had to take back.
All right, to the best of your knowledge, however, you don't have any personal knowledge that it was used on the 13th?
No, I could only say probably it was.
Okay, object, a motion to strike the reference to probably as being speculative.
Overruled.
Ms. Teresen, excuse me, did you have any information regarding your VCR being missing before you got home at about 5 p.m. on the 14th?
Yes,
So you yourself didn't first discover it missing, is that right?
right.
And you yourself cannot specifically be sure that it was even there the morning of the 14th?
Oh, no. I know certainly it was there the morning of the 14th.
In other words, you specifically remember seeing it?
Yes.
Is there anything particular that you do in the morning that resulted in you
The video,
seeing the VCR?
the video player has a clock on the front. It's the only clock in the family room kitchen area. And as I'm getting ready for work, I could have glanced at it several times to know the time.
Who did you first receive information from regarding it being missing, the VCR?
My son Gregory,
And when was that on the 14th?
probably around 1 o'clock.
Do you know Mr. Torin?
Yes.
He's dated your daughter in the past, is that right?
I'm not sure about that. I know they're friends.
Okay, and he's been in your home before?
Yes.
And that's with your permission?
Sometimes and sometimes not.
Is your home generally left unlocked?
I'm sorry. Would you?
Is your home generally left unlocked when nobody's home?
It is often unlocked.
I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect?
Did you give the defendant, David Torn, permission to be in your home on November 15, 19,
Object.
and take the VCR?
Objection asked and answered.
What date do you mean?
November 14, 1985.
Overruled. You may answer.
No.
Nothing further.
Anything further, counsel?
No, thank you.
You may step down. You may be excused. Thank you for coming in. Call your next witness.
Gregory Cusser.
Mr. Cusser, approach the witness stand to my left. Before you take the stand, face the clerk, raise your right hand, and be sworn. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Please be seated and state your name to the court.
My name is Greg Cusser.
Could you spell your last name, please?
K-U-S-S-E-R.
Okay, you may proceed, counsel.
On November 14, 1985, were you living with your mother and sister at 1580 Bronco Way in the city of Upland?
Yes.
About what time did you leave your home on that day, if you know?
7 o'clock to go to school.
Did your sister live with you?
And she took me there. I don't know where she went after that.
When you left your home, did you lock the doors?
No.
Did you return sometime during the day?
Yes.
About what time was that?
I think it was about 2 o'clock.
Is this 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes.
Could it have been 1 o'clock or earlier?
I say 1:30 to 2.
Did you notice anything unusual when you entered your home?
Yes.
What did you notice?
That the VCR was missing.
Did you see anybody in your home?
Yes.
And who was that?
David and Brian.
Okay, either of those people in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Which one?
David right there.
Would you tell the court what David's wearing in the courtroom today?
Excuse me?
Would you tell the court what David is wearing in the courtroom today?
What is he wearing?
Yes, what is he wearing today?
An orange shirt.
May the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant, David Torrin?
Yes.
Where did you see the defendant, David Torrin, inside your home?
Just standing in my kitchen, I guess, with Brian.
Did you see the VCR missing at that time?
I didn't. My friend did. I didn't notice it at that time.
What happened after you saw the defendant, David Torrin, and his friend Brian standing in your kitchen?
Well, Brian told us, me and my friend John, to go upstairs and play guitar. Obviously trying to get us out of the room so we wouldn't notice the VCR.
Objection as to the second part of his response, speculation and beyond the scope of the question.
It may be stricken.
What happened next, if anything? After you noticed the defendant and Brian in your kitchen, where did you go?
I went upstairs.
Did you go upstairs and play guitar?
Yes, and then they left.
Where did they go?
Upstairs. They were upstairs too.
How long did this happen?
What?
How long were you upstairs with David and Brian?
For about 5 minutes, and then they left. And then my friend told me the VCR was gone.
Objection, move to strike beyond the scope of the question.
The last sentence may be stricken.
Did the defendant, David Torrin, say anything to you in the kitchen?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
No, not that I can recall.
Did he say anything to direct you upstairs?
No, but his friend Brian did, I think.
When you were upstairs, did the defendant, David Torrin, say anything to you?
No.
Did they say anything
my sister was. I said, she's at work.
When did you first notice that the VCR was missing?
After they left, and my friend John said the VCR was gone. Then I went down and it was gone.
Now, did the defendant, David Torn, go downstairs while you stayed upstairs?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Excuse me?
When the defendant, David Torn, left with his friend Brian, did you go downstairs with him?
No, I was staying in my room.
About how long were they gone before you discovered your VCR was missing?
I discovered right after they left.
Did you? What did you do when you saw that the VCR was missing?
I didn't do anything for a couple of minutes. A neighbor across the street came over, or he talked to my friend and said that it was the two guys that left just...
Objection. Move to strike everything after the initial response.
Okay, it may be stricken. Mr. Cusser, try to listen to the question and just answer the question that's asked. Proceed.
May I have the last question restated?
No.
What did you do after you discovered the VCR was missing?
I didn't do anything. I was just talking to my friend about whoever could have done it. I didn't know if they did it or not at that time.
What did you do next, if anything?
Huh?
What did you do next, if anything?
The next thing I did was called the police department and reported the VCR missing, and at that time, I didn't have any idea who did it until my friend called me at home. He said he talked to the guy across the street.
Objection. He is continuing with the narrative response. It's beyond the scope of the question.
The last part may be stricken.
Okay, did you call your home also?
Yes, after the police department, I called my mom.
Okay, did you give the defendant, David Torrin, or his friend Brian, any permission to take the VCR?
No,
Did you go with your sister to the police department to pick up a VCR?
no.
I have no further questions.
You may cross-examine.
Thank you. Do you pronounce it Cusser?
Yes.
Mr. Cusser, what is John's full name?
John McLaughlin.
How is that spelled?
I'm not sure.
But your understanding, though, it is McLaughlin?
McLaughlin.
What city does he live in?
Upland,
What time did your school day end, Mr. Cusser?
145.
And did you leave that day with John McLaughlin?
No, I didn't.
Did you meet him at your house?
Excuse me?
When did you first see John that day?
After school.
So you saw him sometime after school, and then the two of you went to your house, is that right?
Uh-huh.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And the first time you saw him that day was sometime after 1:45?
It might have been before 145.
You don't really remember?
I think it was after lunch. I'm not sure if I went to fifth period that day. But then me and him came home. He was with me when I came home.
Was he driving?
Yes.
And it was John who first brought your attention to the absence of the VCR?
That he noticed and I didn't.
Did you at any time that day see, well, just a minute. Do you know if Mr. Torrin owned a vehicle? Do you know if he has a car?
I think my sister told me something about getting a truck or...
But you didn't see his car that day?
No.
The first time you saw Mr. Torrin that day was in your kitchen with Brian, is that right?
Yes.
Said John went down at some point and you and John and Brian and David went upstairs, is that right?
Yes.
And did all four of you come back downstairs at some time after that?
Brian and David left, and then me and my friend stayed in my room until they left, and then went downstairs.
And you and your friend John both went downstairs at the same time, is that right?
Yes.
You didn't have any idea how long David and Brian might have been there before you arrived, is that right?
No,
Did you yourself talk to your neighbor at some time about this?
No.
Never talked to your neighbor about this?
No, I believe Officer...
You've answered the question, thank you. Do you know when your sister Holly left the house that day?
Oh, I'm sorry, just...
You earlier testified that she left to take you to school, is that right?
That is correct.
And do you know if she returned home at any time before you did?
Objection, calls for hearsay, no foundation.
For defense, I'm Mr. Funk, F-U-N-K.
And the court,
I am the witness.
for the plaintiff, Ms. Levine, L-E-V-I-N-E.
All right, and we're starting off with the court.
At this time, we are taking up for preliminary examination Mr. Donald Arthur Bueller. Would counsel state their appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Mara Levine on behalf of the people. We are ready, and I would designate Officer Geiberg, G-E-I-B-E-G, as the investigating officer.
So ordered.
Yes, Your Honor. Bruce Funk, on behalf of Mr. Bueller, who is personally present and in custody, We are ready to proceed. I would make a motion to exclude all witnesses, please.
Very well. How many other witnesses besides the investigating officer?
Misty Bueller is our first witness, and also Officer Kraft is present.
Okay, I will have to ask Officer Kraft to step outside and remain outside and not discuss the case while he is outside.
Thank you. We would like to call Mrs. Bueller to the stand. Virginia Misty Fuller, called as a witness on behalf of the people, having been first duly sworn, testify on her oath as follows. Good morning, Mrs. Fuller. Can you please state your full name and spell your first and last name for the record?
It's Virginia Misty Bueller,
Can you spell the last name?
B-U-L-L-E-R.
And what is your relationship to the defendant in this case, Donald Arthur Bueller?
And he's my husband.
And just for the record, is your husband here in court?
Yes.
Where is he located and what is he wearing?
I will stipulate for identification.
We will stipulate as well.
Also, Mrs. Bueller, on any questions that are given you that require a yes or no answer, use the words yes or no instead of uh-huhs and uh-uhs. The reporter cannot take those down.
I'm sorry.
Now, prior to September 24th of 1987, were you living in a house on Carnegie Drive?
Yes.
What was the address of that house?
431 Carnegie Drive, Milpitas.
Is that in the county of Santa Clara?
Yes.
Were you living with your husband at that house?
Yes.
At some point, was that house sold by you and your husband?
Yes.
Did you return to that house on September 27th, 1987, at approximately 8:30 in the evening?
Yes.
Was the house sold already at that time?
Yes.
And what happened when you returned to the house? What did you see?
We had finished packing and stuff.
Okay, was your husband there?
Yes.
Was there anything unusual about him that evening?
He was a little tipsy.
Drunk?
Yes.
Did you and he get into a discussion about his state of sobriety, how much he had to drink?
Yes.
Now, while you and he were discussing this, what, if anything, did he do?
Excuse me?
While you and he were talking about how much he had to drink, what, if anything, did he do physically?
Oh, we were both arguing.
Okay, did he pick up anything in his hand?
Yeah.
What did he pick up in his hand?
Well, I hit him first.
Okay, what did he pick up in his hand?
A beer bottle.
And was this a beer bottle or some other kind of alcohol bottle?
Well, there was another one
Okay, what was this other bottle?
in a trash bag.
What kind of bottle was it?
Tequila or vodka.
Okay, now did he pick up the tequila or vodka bottle first or beer bottle first?
I can't remember.
Do you recall telling the officer seated to my right that he picked up a tequila bottle?
Uh-huh.
I am sorry, is that a yes?
Yes, I am sorry.
And what did he do with that tequila bottle?
Finished drinking it.
And then what did he do with the tequila bottle?
Threw it.
I'm sorry?
He threw it
And threw it where?
against the wall.
Did he attempt to hit you with it?
No, not with that one.
Do you recall telling the officer seated to my right that he attempted to hit you with the tequila bottle?
Well, he threw it against...
No, listen to my question. Do you recall telling Officer Geibig that your husband attempted to hit you with the tequila bottle?
I can't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
Do you recall if you moved after he threw the bottle?
Yeah, I moved out of the way
Why was that?
because he threw it up against the wall
Did he throw it up against the wall where you were located?
nearby.
How near?
Well, near enough to make me move.
Did you think you were going to get hit by the bottle?
Not, at that point, anything was possible. Well, you know, at that point, anything was possible.
Okay now, after that bottle was thrown, did both of you start to hit one another?
Yeah, I hit him first.
Then he hit you?
No, then I hit him some more.
Do you recall telling Officer Geibig that after your husband grabbed the bottle, you both began hitting one another?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Are you saying he did not hit you?
Yes, he did.
He did hit you.
Uh-huh.
You both hit one another.
Yes.
Now, while this was going on, did you move from the room you were in towards another room?
Yes.
What room did that argument start in?
The living room.
And what room did you start moving towards?
The kitchen.
Where is the bathroom in relation to that?
Oh, it's the back bedroom.
And where is that in relation to the kitchen?
Oh, it's not. It's far away from each other.
And is it your testimony today that you moved towards the kitchen?
Yes.
Did your husband pick up any other bottles when you moved towards the kitchen?
Yes. And then he was drinking some more beer.
What kind of beer was he drinking?
St. Pauli's Girl.
Did he finish the beer in the bottle?
I don't know.
Now, when he had the beer bottle in his hand, what did he do next?
I went to the back room to pack the bathroom and the back bedroom, and he followed me in there.
Did he still have the bottle in his hand?
I don't know, we were still arguing.
Did he hit you again?
No, not at that point.
Did he hit you at some future point?
Yes,
And when he hit you, where were you?
in the bedroom.
Was the beer bottle still in his hand?
I can't remember.
Do you recall telling Officer Guybag that your husband picked up a beer bottle and hit you on the right side of the head?
Your Honor, at this time, I am going to object to that question. One, it's leading. Two, I think it's getting ahead of the testimony. The district attorney is not really eliciting how the events are taking place. The last question was, did he have the bottle in his hand? Well, don't you remember saying this? She needs to further inquire before leaving the witness.
I'm going to allow the question. Obviously, it's coming in to refresh your recollection, not for the truth of the statement at this particular point.
Thank you. Do you recall telling Officer Guybag that your husband picked up a beer bottle and hit you on the right side of the head?
No,
Do you not remember it, or do you not know?
I don't remember.
Did your husband in fact hit you on the right side of your head when there was a beer bottle in his hand?
Oh, we were fighting back and forth.
Answer the question either yes or no. When he hit you,
It's possible.
you don't know?
No.
At some point, did that beer bottle break?
Objection, Your Honor, assumes facts not in evidence. There's already testimony no beer bottle was used.
Well, there has been testimony of a particular bottle of beer, St. Pauli's Girl brand, being picked up at some point by the defendant while in the kitchen or nearby. And the question calls for this witness's knowledge as to what events actually happened to that bottle. So I don't see any problem about the question. Objection overruled.
At some point, did the beer bottle break?
Yes,
And where did it break?
in the bathroom.
What did your husband do after the beer bottle broke?
Then I got cut.
Okay, now how did you get cut?
We were fighting.
Okay, and how did your husband cut you?
It's possible.
How did he cut you?
Some glass from the beer bottle.
Did he say anything before he cut you?
Yeah,
What did he say?
I can't remember.
Do you recall telling Officer Guybag that your husband said, "I will cut your fucking throat"?
It's possible.
Well, do you remember telling him that or not?
I was upset.
Do you remember telling him or not?
No.
Where were you cut?
On the neck and chest.
And those cuts were caused by a portion of a beer bottle that was in your husband's hand.
It's possible I could have fell on it.
Well, do you know?
No.
Do you recall telling Officer Guybag that your husband attempted to cut you by slashing at your throat area?
Your Honor, I will object. I move that this has been asked and answered. Maybe not in those exact same words, but that question was just asked and she said, "I don't recall."
Since it is in a slightly different form, I am going to allow the question. Do you want the question re-asked?
I can ask again.
Thank you.
Do you recall telling Officer Guybag that your husband attempted to cut you by slashing at your throat area?
I can't remember.
Do you recall telling Officer Guybag that the slash grazed your neck, causing cuts to your neck and chest?
Your Honor, I'd object at this time. She just previously answered the question she can't remember. This is a follow-up question to an answer that was, "I can't remember."
Well, obviously, since it's a different question, she can keep asking different questions. And the witness, if that is her honest testimony, can tell us she can't recall what she told the officer.
Do you want me to rephrase the question?
I can't remember. I was very upset that night.
I would like to mark this People's Exhibit Number 1, a neck portion of a bottle with a jagged edge, and it is in a brown bag.
Okay, that will be marked People's 1 for identification.
I'd like to show you People's Exhibit Number 1, Mrs. Bueller. Do you recognize this broken neck of a beer bottle?
Well, that is the kind of beer he was drinking that night.
And do you recognize this piece of glass?
It's a beer bottle.
Okay, do you recall ever seeing your husband in possession of People's 1?
I don't know.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Do you recall pointing out People's 1 to Officer Guybag in the bathroom of your house?
It was the kind of beer he was drinking.
No. Listen to my question. Do you recall pointing out People's 1 to Officer Guybag in your bathroom?
Yeah, they asked me how I got cut, and I told him from the beer bottle.
And you pointed out People's 1 to them, to the officers?
I pointed to a beer bottle, yes.
Was it a beer bottle that looked like this broken neck?
It was a beer bottle that got broken when we were fighting.
And it was a broken beer bottle that you got cut with?
It is possible because we were fighting.
One more moment, Your Honor.
Yes, okay.
Now, when you pointed out, or do you recall pointing out People's 1 to Officer Guybag and telling him this was a piece of the beer bottle that your husband cut you with?
I said, that's the beer bottle that I got cut with, yeah.
I have nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Funk, you may question.
Thank you. Mrs. Bueller, on what date did you sell your house? Do you remember?
No, it was in August.
Well, do you remember how many days before this incident happened that you sold your house?
It was a couple of months.
Okay, you sold your house a couple of months before?
Uh-huh.
Do you recall when you were supposed to be out of your house?
Yes, within 90 days.
On this particular day, when this happened, you were in the process of getting things ready to get out of your house?
Yes.
Now, prior to the day of this incident, when was the last time you had been at your home at 431 Carnegie Drive?
Since Thursday.
Do you remember what day this was that this happened?
No.
Well, let me rephrase the question. Maybe it wasn't a very fair question. We've got the day that this incident happened. Were you at your house earlier that day?
Yes.
Were you there the day before?
No.
How about the day before that?
No.
So on the day that this happened, you were no longer living in your home?
So where are Judy?
I am for defense, Mr. Martinez, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z.
The court,
I'm the witness.
I'm defense, I'm plaintiff, Ms. Silvers, S-I-L-V-E-R-S.
Okay, and we're starting on line 6 with the court.
matter of People versus Martin Timothy Gallardo, case number A562958. Are the people ready?
Yes, Your Honor, the people are ready. May we go off the record for a moment?
Yes, let's proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will call Bonnie Childs.
Miss Childs, please step forward. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your full name.
Bonnie Childs.
Please spell your last name.
C-H-I-L-D-S.
Thank you very much. You may be seated in the witness stand.
At this time, there's a defense motion to exclude any other witnesses that the people plan to present at this hearing.
Any other witnesses present?
Yes.
Yes, Sergeant Burnt. I would ask that he remain as my investigating officer, Your Honor.
Yes, you may remain. Is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes.
And do you waive further reading of the complaint and statement of rights?
Yes.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 18, 1982, did you go to 415 North Gladys in Monterey Park, County of Los Angeles?
Yes.
On March 18, 1982, at 7 o'clock, did you go to 413 North Gladys in Monterey Park, County of Los Angeles?
Yes.
And do you know the person that answered the door?
Yes, I did.
Do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Would you please describe what he's wearing today for the record?
He's wearing a striped shirt, t-shirt. It's brown and white.
Indicating the defendant for the record,